The Star as well. It's back to the streets, as you can see in the Standard. And just listening to those sentiments, let's just begin, first of all, from the parliamentary floor, where we see this heated debate. And they want now to, take back the position of Sabina Chege as a deputy whip, first of all. Party hygiene.
Yeah, this is what could aptly be described as hot air. Because members of parliament spending so much energy to defend what Martin calls bad manners and trying to justify things that are completely unjustifiable for all practical purposes, and it doesn't have to be, Sabina Chege has for all practical purposes defected. There is no way, it was going to be untenable for her. And I heard, one of the members say, how do you expect Sabina Chege to whip, members of Azimio when she's actually canvassing for the other side? She can no longer perform that role. And I think it is only honorable. Actually, it didn't have to reach this point where, the Azimio has to take action to push her out. She needed to say, I've moved on, and so I'm leaving this position so that the party or the coalition can see what And these things, part of the reason they are spending so much time is because they come with certain privileges. When you are a whip, when you are, an official as it is, it comes with certain privileges, even in terms of priority of who speaks and so on in the House and so on. The speaker is expected to give majority side the first priority, then minority, then these other leadership positions. And so for her to still expect, yet every time she stands on the floor of that house, she does not speak for the coalition, the opposition coalition. And so we need to bring in some level of hygiene, and I think it should start with the individual, even if the party system is not so developed so far. The second thing I want to say is that, this constitution has a lot of things that remain aspirational. The fact that we do not practice them does not mean that the constitution needs to be cast aside, and that's where I disagree with Martin Olo, that yes, we'll have the constitution, but what is the practice? We must always endeavor to uphold the letter and spirit of the constitution. And whether Kenyans themselves do not measure up, to these standards that we are talking about, I think it behoves upon the leadership to show and lead by example. There are certain things that if you went to America, my first time in the United States, I wanted to see the Congress building and so on and so forth. What I saw when I went to the Congress building were, people doing all manner of things around the building. You would think the building is not properly secured, but the kind of bad manners I saw being done by Americans. Yet even as they do those things, there are things they would not expect people in positions of leadership to do. And so those who are in positions of leadership will always be expected to walk the narrow path and demonstrate moral aptitude and character required and expected of them as leaders. So yes, we may have failed as a society, but we want our leaders to pull us along those paths that the Constitution sets out for us. We are a multi-party democracy, and if you read our Constitution, it's very, very clear that Kenya shall be a multi-party democratic state, founded on the national values set out in Article 10. And some of those national values include patriotism. So leaders should be asking themselves, is it patriotic of me if I were to leave the very party that either nominated me? In fact, ideally, Jubilee should be saying, because Sabina Chege is nominated, is it a blank check for her to do anything? Actually, Jubilee can take action that renders Sabina Chege not to be a member of parliament if they so wish. But they have not taken that bother. One of the complaints that people raised yesterday during the Fungamano Forum was how, the Azimio leadership seems to be tolerant of MPs who have defied the party, are voting with the other side, and brazenly, defend their position by claiming that whatever they're doing for the sake of development in their constituencies. And so the Azimio leadership was faulted for entertaining people who are elected on Azimio allied parties that have practically, crossed over and continually continue to undermine efforts by the coalition to fight even for the items that they are negotiating about. So we must always endeavor as a country to hold people in positions of leadership to account.
Is it tolerance or it's fear from Azimio? Maybe if you pull back, that particular rag from them and they go back to the people, will the outcome be the same?
I mean, you expect UEDA or any other party to win in Bondo? Do you expect any other party to win in Kisumu for the senatorial seat? Do you expect, in Awendo and many other constituencies? Those are sure bets. Perhaps they do not just want to open many war fronts. But if they were to dig their feet into the ground and say, you have defied the party and we are therefore recalling you and anticipating a by-election as to be conducted by the IBC, they will recapture almost everything, including Langata, and so they perhaps maybe in their strategic thinking are saying, we have a bigger battle now. We do not want to open so many war fronts, but there is a way in which they must, assert the authority and ensure that there is discipline within not just the individual parties, but within the larger Azimio coalition.
Let me come to Dr. Green here and ask you,